You are a tiger! Ah!
You know, they promised me that footage would never be shown. Still, that's spy technology for you. And this week, Click goes undercover to discover the truth behind cyber warfare and espionage. We'll also check out the cameras and bugs available to anyone to keep secret tabs on anyone else. All that plus the latest tech news and some more choice surfing suggestions in Webscape. Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly. Right, first off this week, take a look at this. Now this is the world's smallest commercially available high-resolution video camera. Now it's got pretty limited functionality, admittedly. There are only 3 buttons, there's no focus and no screen, but it is perfect for a couple of things. And one of those things might be secret filming, spying. And we'll have more on this and some other sneaky gadgets we found in a few minutes. First, the bigger picture. When governments use stealth to discover secrets or even take down another country's information systems, they don't use one of these. They wage cyber warfare. And in fact, the threat to government networks and major financial institutions is growing every day. And as well as looking after state secrets, these guys are also responsible for keeping our own data safe. So how do you defend national borders? Where are borders online anyway? We gave Mark Chislak a virtual flak jacket and sent him to the front line.
Estonia, an online-savvy state and champion of so-called e-government. A paperless system with many government services online. The population can even vote via the web. In 2007, a large number of Estonian government and financial websites were brought to a standstill as they came under sustained online attack. South Korea, July the 4th, 2009. US and South Korean government websites and those of certain banks and businesses ground to a halt as they came under denial of service assaults. In the United States, the Pentagon and the White House also suffered online attack.
We know that cyber intruders have probed our electrical grid and that in other countries, cyber attacks have plunged entire cities into darkness. Our technological advantage is a key to America's military dominance, but our defense and military networks are under constant attack, constant attack.
These cyber attacks were all initially thought to be orchestrated by countries unfriendly to Estonia, South Korea and the US. And to date, these are the highest profile examples of so-called cyber warfare. Conventional warfare relies on tanks, troops, artillery, aircraft and a whole gamut of weapon systems. Cyber warfare requires a computer and an internet connection. Rather than sending in the Marines, the act of typing a command on a keyboard can have a devastating effect on computer systems and networks.
It is possible to bring an entire state to a standstill, theoretically, and we've seen it done on a small scale, practically. So the threat ahead of us is very big indeed.
From criminal gangs trying to steal cash to foreign intelligence services trying to steal secrets, the threat of cyber warfare is now very real. NATO suspects that along with the tanks and troops involved in last year's conflict in Georgia, Russian forces also engaged in cyber attacks against Georgian government computer systems. But these aren't isolated incidents. Every day, government and corporate websites fend off thousands of attempts to infiltrate, hack and cause disruption. The popular weapon of choice in cyber warfare is the Directed Denial of Service attack, or DDoS. Unknown to their owners, infected computers become zombie machines, digitally press gang to do the bidding of hackers. This is known as a botnet. In their thousands, these zombie machines attempt to log on to a particular website, forcing it to fail or collapse under the sheer weight of data it's receiving. The threat of cyber warfare is being taken very seriously by Western governments and NATO. Online assets are being deployed to bolster national and international digital defences.
We're setting up the strategic unit to look at cyber security. We're setting up a new office in Cheltenham so that we can look at what we can do. This is a 50 billion criminal industry around the world, and British people need protection from it. But at the same time also we need to deal with potential terrorist threats to our country.
NATO has set up a cyber defence facility in Estonia, codenamed K5. The American government has launched a national cybersecurity strategy, and the UK has responded by creating two organisations, the Office of Cybersecurity and the Cybersecurity Operations Centre, based at GCHQ in Cheltenham.
The amount of people involved, according to the government's own reckoning, is about 40, about 20 people within each of those two offices. The estimates of the number of people listening in to us in China is about 40,000 people working around the clock.
We've had a sort of response against cyber warfare, to my certain knowledge, for 10 years, and it was already pretty mature when I came across it. It's been pretty hidden so far. You tended to get to know about it if you were an academic or you moved in certain sort of technical circles. More recently, because the problems got bigger and because of greater public alarm and interest, they've decided to make it more public.
Defending against cyber warfare techniques is difficult enough, but how do you track back or identify the point of origin of an online attack? In the case of the Estonian attacks, initial reports suggested that Russia was to blame. These allegations have been strongly denied by Russian authorities, and to date only one individual, an ethnic Russian student living in Estonia, has been fined as a result of the attacks.
All too quickly people say they know where the attack is coming from. Now, my experience of doing investigations of all sizes is that very often the initial diagnosis is wrong. If you look, say, at the recent Korean attacks, it seems at a political level a reasonable supposition that it originated in North Korea because they're the people who are most active at the moment. On the other hand, some of the reports say, at a technical level, they seem to have originated here in the United Kingdom, which makes no sense. So diagnosis is quite difficult.
Cyber warfare, a new kind of weapon for the 21st century. Along with the aircraft and artillery on show here in the Imperial War Museum, one day we could see an exhibit dedicated to the computer.
Mark Chislak on the international response to cyber warfare and espionage. Now on to some big secrets that have recently been made public, or as we like to call them, tech news.
Twitter's stellar success appears to have attracted some unwelcome attention. It's now being accused of patent infringement by a company which delivers a similar service. TechRadium's platform allows one message to be sent to multiple recipients on a variety of different devices, like mobiles and email. The Texan-based outfit says it's suing because several of its paying customers have switched to Twitter, since it does basically the same thing, but for free. The open-source browser Firefox has passed the 1 billion download mark ahead of the release of its fourth iteration. Latest figures suggest that Firefox now owns nearly 1/3 of the desktop browser market worldwide. Microsoft's Internet Explorer still dominates the field with around 60%, with Google's Chrome, Apple's Safari and Opera, the also-rans, at less than 5%. Finally, car giant Nissan has unveiled its take on the battery-only vehicle. With a range of up to 160 kilometers, getting to work and back on a single charge finally makes the electric option more appealing to commuters. Only thing is, Nissan hasn't revealed exactly how much the car will cost when it's due to be released next year, but they do say the price will be comparable to a petrol car.
Okay, back now to our ultra-small, high-resolution video camera. Now, we've been out and about and recorded some video for you. This is the kind of footage that we've got. Now, it's not exactly fantastic quality, I know, but given it's being recorded on something half the size of a stick of gum, maybe that's not surprising. The battery in this will last for about 2 hours, so you get 2 hours of video, which is all recorded to this micro SD card that you slot in the side. Apart from that, you have an on-off switch here and a record and stop button here. And this is being marketed at adventure seekers who might like to clip this onto their bike or onto their helmet when they're out and about. But here at Click, we think there's a darker use for this, and that is because of this third control on the side marked Vox. Now if you leave this switched off, it behaves like a normal camcorder. But if you switch it on, this camcorder becomes noise activated. It will only record video when it hears a noise, which means that you could leave it lying around, and when someone enters the room or starts talking, it starts recording. Now maybe that's just us being paranoid, but we think this is one of a number of gadgets that you would do well to know about. After the break, we take a closer look at some of the tech on shop shelves that can be turned to the dark side. And Kate Russell brings us some movie review sites with a difference in Webscape.